Beatmaking has been a beautiful journey for me. I mean, I want you to think back to the first time when you started making beats. You were learning incredibly fast and everything went well until your learning curve completely flatlined. I know exactly how you feel, but don't worry. Today I'll show you my way of making a creative beat from start to finish. Alright, we're gonna start with sound selection. You can get your sounds from anywhere, but I'm using the Pro sounds from Music, and I gotta say, it's incredible. Let's take a look at the Pro one-shots. See if we can find a sound to make a melody with. Perhaps a bell, that would be perfect. Okay, this one will get the job done. Now, once it's in the channel rack, right-click it and choose piano roll. Now we can simply create a melody with that one shot. Before we do that, let's choose a scale we can work in. You can do that by right-clicking the music note icon on top. Let's choose D minor, for example. Now in the piano roll, all the available notes in your scale will be highlighted. Oh, and don't forget to choose a tempo. I'll take 140 for this project. Now, let's make a melody. Did you know that FL Studio can turn your text into a chord progression? Let me show you. First, go to the browser and click on the Library tab. Then find piano roll scripts, and then on the right, you'll see text to chord progression. After installing it, go back to the piano roll. You can find it back in the menu on the top left, then tools, and then text to chord. Now in this window, let's type in something that will be dark and simple. For example, D minor and E minor 7th. You can copy mine or create your own, it doesn't matter. As you can see, the chords will appear in a piano roll. Now of course, you still need to adjust them to your liking. If you want, you can even change the chords to whatever. Next, we're gonna adjust the voicing of the chorus just a little bit. I want it to sound a little darker, and you can do that by selecting the top 2 notes and bringing them 1 octave lower. You know what? Instead of moving it, let's duplicate it to give it more body. If you want, you can also duplicate the root notes to give it more core and strength. That sounds great. Let's duplicate the chords. Now it's time to make the chords sound more realistic. To do that, press Alt plus S to open up the strumizer. Here you can use these controls to offset the notes, which will create a strum effect. Awesome. Now also change the velocity knob so that each note will sound a little different in loudness. That is amazing. Next, we're gonna build a melody on top of the chords. We can use the same sound, or we can find another one from the Music Pro one-shots. By the way, Music is actually sponsoring this video, and they're giving you 30% off from the Pro Sounds bundle, or actually any individual sound pack, by using the code FLBasics.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
These sound packs really leveled up my music, and I don't want you guys to miss out on it. I'll leave a link below so you can check it out. Now, back to FL. So, I found another sound called Dreamer that matches the chords perfectly. I've just built a super simple and repetitive melody on top of the chords. I like it to be descending to really get that dark feeling in it. That already sounds amazing, but next we're gonna create a bass line for the melody. Let us find one from the sound pack again. This background bass will be perfect. Drag it underneath the melodies and there you go. For the bass notes, let's keep it simple and just copy the root notes first. Then if you want, you can add some variation to the bass notes. But this is not necessary right now. You can always do this afterwards. Oh, almost forgot to tell you guys, you can also find more than 900 guitar melody loops in the Floyd Pro collection. So if you want to skip building a melody, I'm sure you'll find something there. Next, we're gonna make a drum pattern.
This is where the fun begins.
Now, Floyd Music also has a huge drum kit included in the ultimate production suite. So let's see if we can find something. I'm looking for a hard trap kick. Oh, this one will be perfect. Next, let me find a snare, and if you're producing for a while, you know that finding a snare can be hard sometimes. But not with this drum kit. It took like 5 seconds and I already found one. Alright, let's find a closed hi-hat as well, and I'm gonna do the perks and cymbals afterwards. Let's start with the closed hi-hat. To quickly make a pattern, right-click it and choose every 2 steps. This will create a basic pattern. Now, before we spice it up, I'm gonna add a snare and kick first. For the snare, add one on every 3rd. Now for the kick, I like to play it in with my MIDI pad, so this is different for every beat. Something like this sounds awesome. Now before the end of this bar, I like to create a double kick because it sounds awesome. But it can sound a little overwhelming, and to fix that, simply decrease the velocity of the first kick. That will make it sound a little more real and calm on the ears. Now let's get back to the hi-hat patterns. First I'm gonna add some triplets to create some bounce in the beat. To do that, set the grid to 1/3 step from the menu on top. You can now put some notes wherever you want, but I like them most at the end of the beat. Awesome, now what is a trap beat without hi-hat rolls? Let me show you how to make them. First, extend one of the notes in front of a snare, for example. Then hit Alt+U on your keyboard to open up the chopper. Play with the time multiplicator until you have around 4 cuts on your note. Then click on accept. That sounds so cool. Next, we're gonna add an 808 to the pattern. But before we do that, mute the bass for a second, because those two layers will never be playing simultaneously. Okay, I found this fire 808, and let's see what we can do. First, right-click the sample and enable cut itself. Now in the piano roll, I created this simple melody that actually follows the kick in the drum pattern. Alright, I just finished my beat loop in the channel rack and now it's time to arrange it. To do that, open up the playlist and on the left, you'll find the loop we just created. You want to have all the sounds of our loop in separate layers instead of one pattern. And to do that, right-click your loop and choose split by channel. Now you can drag all the patterns into the timeline. Let me duplicate them real quick by hitting Ctrl+B on your keyboard. Alright, to arrange the beat, you want to create the intro first. You can do that by deleting some of the elements first, so that we can let it build up and create some tension until the chorus or the verse comes in. That already sounds great. Now, the melody we created is a little bit repetitive and simple, and that can be boring real quick. We have to come up with an idea that keeps the melody interesting. To do that, we can play around with the pitch. First, find your chords in the picker panel and right-click it. Then choose Quick Render. This will create an audio file that you can drag inside the playlist. Let's replace the patterns in the intro with the exported melody. Now, to play with the pitch, double-click the audio clip. This will open up the sampler where you can adjust some settings. On top, find the pitch knob and drag it down 1 octave. This will make it sound darker and more in the background. Do the same thing for your melody and there you go. That is amazing, but next I want to show you a trick that will keep the listener hooked in the chorus. To do that, we're gonna use silence. In the middle of the chorus, cut everything off that comes after the snare. This is really unexpected and this will surprise the listener. That sounds amazing, but now it's time to start mixing everything so that we can make it sound perfect. And you can learn everything about that in the video right here on my left. Thank you guys. Goodbye.